So the real question is, what's dormant seeding? Why do it? I've never heard of it before. Most people haven't. I hadn't, honestly, either, until probably 4 years ago. I started watching a bunch of different YouTubers, and somebody brought it up. It seemed like a weird thing. You're throwing grass seed on top of snow. You're throwing it down in the wintertime, and that's not the time to do it. Or that's what everybody says. Something I've learned over the last couple of years is just because people say you shouldn't do something doesn't mean that you actually shouldn't. It just means that it's not the norm. It means that people don't generally do it, and why not give it a try? So a couple years ago, the end of the season, I had seed left over, and I said, you know what, screw it. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. We moved into the house. April, May will be 5 years. So the winter of 2018 had seed left over. Wasn't really happy with the yard. It looked dead when we moved in. I'll find a picture at some point and I'll post that in another video, just the things we've done here. And I said, you know what? What's it going to hurt? I mean, we overseeded in the spring, overseeded in the fall. Obviously, overseeding and aerating in the spring or fall, those are your times. Fall's the best, spring's the second best. All depends on temperatures, weather, watering. We didn't have sprinklers at the time. Now we do. Thank God. Water bill's ridiculous, but it is what it is. I knew that was going to happen. So I said, let's try it. So took any of the seed I had left over. This was back in the day when, Lowe's seed was the seed to go with. I was actually using Pennington. Yeah, Pennington. I was using that, and because that was better than Scott's, and it was good enough. I didn't understand the differences at that point, so I threw it down. The concept is you throw it down between snowstorms. You want to wait till there's some snow on the ground. It's probably not going to melt, and it'll basically get smothered by that snow and then the next snowstorm. So that's what I did. We had a good amount of snow that year, threw it down after about a 2-inch snowstorm, covered the entire yard with the seed I had left over that was going to go bad anyway. For anybody who doesn't know, you basically lose about 50% germination rate year to year. So if it sits in a environment like a cold garage, you're going to lose the ability to germinate. All seeds will tell you what their rate is. Some will say 99, 90s is normal. That's a number based on perfect conditions. If you're watering, if you get sun, if you get the right amount of daylight, if it's the right type of soil, fertilized, all that. So threw it down, it was going to go to waste anyway. Spring comes, there's grass. Okay, so it makes sense. Let's try it again the next year. 2019, did it here, did it a couple other places. Same deal. It does work. It seems odd. It seems different. But why not do it? It makes sense to. So we went out. We still do a bunch of them each year. And here's some video from the other day. Alright, so today we're doing something a little bit different. Obviously, there's snow on the ground, which you'll see in a little bit. And we can't do leaves, can't do grass, can't do a whole lot of anything. So we're starting our dormant seeding. There's a lot of mixed opinions on this, but I've been doing it since we moved into the house. I do it at a bunch of clients every year, and it gives us, I think, an early pop-up with the grass in the spring. People can say what they want. I think it works, so we do it. So that's our seed. I'll get you a shot of the bag when we get back. It's a higher quality and it works well. So you can see all the snow on the ground. We obviously were not going crazy with it.
I usually hand spread it just because at this point, when there's snow on the ground, it's hard to get anything through. So just get nice fine coverage. You don't need a ton. The grass is generally good in this area, but this will give it a nice little pickup for the spring. Dog with the sidewalks. Like I said, this isn't a normal rate that we would overseed with, but that's mainly just because it's a different way of doing it. Especially with weather coming in, this will get underneath, it'll end up being real nice.
So now, what do we use to dormant seed? Seems like a weird question. Obviously, you've got your grass seed. What seed do we use? Now, if I pull up the seed, which, let me pop it up on the screen. Give me 1 second. So if I pop it up here, and I show you what we're using, so we get it at a variety of different places. They're all local. My top one that I like going to is Glen Wild Gardens. They're just good people. They're right in Bloomingdale, which is right next door. We've also gotten it if we're picking up mulch down at Dan Como in Tawako. They've got seed down there. It's very similar to what they have at Glen Wild. Glen Wild uses Jonathan Green brand. We generally use the Black Beauty and the Black Beauty Ultra. It's got a good mix of different seeds. You've got your fescue, your ryegrass, your bluegrass. The Ultra versus the non-Ultra, that's where the bluegrass comes into play. This year, we got it at Wayne Wholesale Fertilizer, which is down in Wayne. The bag, you can see the bag here. It's premium quality grass seed. That's what the bag says. And it is good. It's 50 pounds. Compared to 2 years ago when a bag like this cost about $100, now it costs $10,000 for a 50-pound bag, but that is what it is. You know, it's we need it. So there's, whether it's $110 like it used to be, $90, whatever. Now if you go here, I think we paid $175 a bag for these. Last year it was actually worse. It was almost $200 a bag. It really depends where you go. If you go with Jonathan Green brand, you're actually going to pay a little bit more. You might pay $100, $120 for a 25-pound bag. But it's all about the quality. So now if we pull up the tag on this seed, you can see here, it tells you when it was tested, when you need to sell it by. So 9/23 of 22, apparently I cut that off. It shows you where the seed is from. This is all from Oregon. Very popular place for the seed to come from. So right here we've got 1, 2, 3 different types of fescue seed. You've got the tall, actually all 3 are tall, but there's Falcon 4, there's Renegade, there's Tribute 2, then you've also got your Line Drive 2 perennial ryegrass and Balboa Kentucky bluegrass. So it gives you the quantities. So the fescues, there's about 23% of each, 19% of the rye, and just under 10% of the bluegrass. Why have the different types of seed? So bluegrass takes the longest to germinate. You're going to have, you could see it in 3 weeks. This is mainly if you overseed in the spring or fall. Dormant seeding is different. It's just, you're still going to see it in about the same amount of time, but you have to remember winter's there, so don't count winter. Until the ground thaws and gets to the right temperatures, you're not going to see it. So the bluegrass takes 3 to 4 weeks, could end up being a couple months depending on conditions. The fescue is the second one that you're going to see pop up. That's usually week 2 to 3. You'll see it start popping. And then the ryegrass pops up quick. You can see that we did a job in September and the ryegrass was popped up within 5 days. It was very wet, came up great. The grass looks good. But that's why you have the different ones. The ryegrass helps to start holding the dirt in place, especially if you're doing a job where you're adding dirt and seed. The fescue then fills in, so you've got 20% ryegrass, and then you're going to have just under 75% of the fescue. Nice thing about bluegrass, when it eventually does come, it's self-healing and it spreads. So it'll move throughout the yard over time, slowly taking it over. And if there's an area, if you have a pet that pees in your grass, kills that area, if it's bluegrass, it'll slowly come back together. Now each of these has a 90% germination rate, with the exception of the bluegrass. That's 85. The most important part of this is at the bottom. Other crop seeds, 0.67%. That means it could be anything, straw, hay, whatever. Inert matter, 1%. What is that? So if you get Scott brand and you get the one that's got the blue covering on it, that's an inert matter. If you get things that have the ready mix, the patch master, anything like that, inert matter is just the extra stuff. Mulch, cardboard, anything that they throw in. This 50-pound bag of seed is 50 pounds of seed. 50 pounds of certain other brands might be 20 pounds of seed, 30 pounds of other stuff. The number one most important part, weed seeds. 0%. There is 0% weed seed in this bag. That means that you are not getting weeds from this grass. It's been tested. There's no weeds in it. Noxious weed seeds, none found. Another important part. If you're buying seed from somewhere else, if you're getting cheaper seed, you're going to have more other crop seeds, more inert matter, more weed seeds, and noxious weed seeds. Do not buy the other stuff. You're wasting your money. It's just not as good. Buy this, buy Blue Tag. There's plenty of places that sell it. Anyone can go get this stuff. If you can't find it, reach out and I will find it for you, even if you're not from around here. Plenty of places have it. So that's why we use this. And it works very well. Now, should you dormant seed? The big question is, do you get snow? Now, the concept of dormant seeding is that the snow holds the seed. It's obviously not going to germinate. It's too cold. So you put it on top of the first snow. You've got your snow here. You have your seed here. Then it snows more. So now your seed is in here. The snow starts to melt. It pushes it down. And as it continues melting, the seed gets pushed into the ground. As the snow melts, the ground gets wet, gets soft, the seed goes down. What do you need for seed to grow? You need water, you need sun, you need the right temperature, and you need soil contact. This pushes it all down. What this does is it prepares the seed for the spring. So you're not going to see anything at all through the winter. When spring comes and your ground temperatures get above an average of 50 degrees, it's going to start to germinate, to pop. You might not get the full germination. You might not get that 90%, but you'll get something, and it'll come up, and that's why we do it. All right, last piece for tonight. So obviously, you can tell I'm in classes. I'm down in the basement. I picked up my Mets hat, which is the first time I've worn this since the, we'll just call it a shit show end to the season. But, you know, new season's coming. We'll be good. A lot of pitchers. That's great. So anyway, I just came in from doing some of our snow stuff. Little storm, you know, maybe an inch, a lot of messiness. So went out, cleared a little bit, and salted a bunch. Probably put down 800 pounds of salt, give or take. Temperatures are going to be up, but you never know. I reached out to all the clients, and put it down for whoever wanted it. So anyway, off of that, it's almost 4 o'clock in the morning now, and I'm ready to go to bed. But to finish up this video, obviously I know not everybody's going to dormant seed. Somebody who does not care about their lawn is not going to dormant seed. If you're somebody who does care, if you want your yard to look good, this is a way to do it. If you missed overseeding in the spring or the fall, this is something you can do. You can try it. Right now is literally the time to do it. We had a storm a couple days ago. We had this storm. Ground is very wet. There's snow on the ground. We apparently have more snow coming next week. I'm seeing anywhere from 4 to 12 inches, depending who you ask. You're always going to have the people that say it's going to be, it's going to be a 20-inch storm. But it looks like the 22nd, 23rd, we should get a significant snowfall. I'm going to say it'll be 4 to 8. We'll see what happens. But we'll be at with that. But this is your opportunity. If you throw the seed down now, the next couple days, it'll sit on top of this snow. When the next snow comes, it's going to start pushing it down. Over winter, it will push it into the ground, and in the spring, you're going to have a great yard. Now, you might say, why the hell am I going to listen to you? You don't have to. You're probably not watching at this point anyway. If you are still watching, thanks. Like the channel, subscribe, hit the bell so that you know when I post more videos. I know a lot of people don't watch this far, but why listen to me? I've done this. I do this in my yard every year. I don't do things for clients until I've done it for myself. Between the grass, completely changing things around for my patio, we don't even do patios for people yet. Redid the walls of my patio, learned that I will never touch railroad ties again. Snow. It's everything that we get, I try first before I put it in anybody's yard. So, take my advice, don't take my advice, that's up to you. We'll see how my yard looks in the spring. If you follow these steps, yours will look great. And if you don't follow, if you don't want to give it a shot, my grass will be green before yours is. So, anyway, everybody have a good night. Enjoy the holidays coming up, and I will see you in the next one. Stay safe.